KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by
Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
All right, half a day, everybody. This is the Hotspot. Is it Monday already? Saturday and Sunday just kind of like were a blur. I'm Jason Salas. Here is what we're working on for you today.
The menu, brought to you by King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and Ruby Tuesday Guam, home of the Fresh Garden Bar.
We are going to give you a look at recent crime news and what you need to know. We'll also break down the results of a survey conducted with staff over at GMH. And later, September is National Preparedness Month, and the Office of Civil Defense and Guam Homeland Security have some events lined up for this month. Also, what's up with the weather? We will find out with our friends from the NWS. Well, right off the top, former attorney for Guerrero, Mark Smith, has been cleared of all criminal charges that he'd been convicted of in federal court. Judge Ramona Manglonia issued a decision on Friday acquitting Smith of multiple counts of money laundering and theft of property as monetary instruments. Smith was cleared earlier this year on 26 counts of wire fraud and a single count of conspiracy. Defense attorney Mike Phillips called the decision a huge win, saying the initial verdict came as a complete shock. He writes, "There just wasn't any evidence of a crime. We were very confident of our motion to dismiss the case, but of course we never know for sure what a court will do." He continues to write, "We're extremely grateful the court listened. Mark Smith was extremely fortunate to be able to retain the attorneys that he did." Now, Phillips had argued Smith was erroneously prosecuted, as in March of 2017, Smith and Glenn Wong were indicted by a federal grand jury accused of collecting funds as a landlord for the Section 8 program while serving as Guerrero's legal counsel. Prosecutors argued Smith concealed his conflict of interest by transferring properties to Wong before Wong could distribute money in various methods to pay Smith's credit card loans and other instruments. Well, one man is the second Chinese national arrested and charged for recently illegally entering Guam by boat. According to a magistrate's complaint, Hazy Lu allegedly landed on Guam on a boat with another Chinese national on May 27th, spotted by a Fish and Wildlife employee. Lu said he and the other man flew to Saipan from Rota, where they got on a boat and they ordered from China. Lu said he didn't know anyone on Guam and had no plans to stay or work when he arrived. He was charged with failure to acquire clearance requirements, failure to deliver a manifest to a customs officer, and invalid place of unloading. Well, one woman was allegedly found in a stolen van with drugs. Now, 36-year-old Daphne Borja is facing charges of theft of a motor vehicle and drug possession. According to a magistrate's complaint, Borja was the driver of a Ford Transit van that was pulled over on August 27th for allegedly disobeying a stop sign. When police ran the plate, they discovered it belonged to a different vehicle, and the van was reported stolen in February. Borja said she bought the van 4 or 5 months ago, negotiating it from $1,000 down to $500, yet she didn't have the paperwork for the van and said she suspected it was stolen because of the price and the ignition was tampered with. Police also recovered a glass pipe and a bag with a substance that tested presumptive positive for meth. Well, the countdown is on for tomorrow's launch of NASA's new moon rocket despite lightning strikes at the launch pad. Officials say neither the rocket nor the ground equipment has been damaged.
NASA officials confirmed 5 lightning strikes hit the 600-foot towers surrounding the Artemis rocket Saturday, but the strikes were not powerful enough to cause any major issues.
We have a threshold that we look at to see what the magnitude of these strikes are, and we did not meet that criteria to have to do intensive or invasive type of retest.
Preparations for the unmanned flight to the moon are moving forward as planned. Fueling is scheduled to begin late Sunday, and NASA officials say they're keeping a sharp eye out for hydrogen leaks that caused issues in 2 countdown tests.
We've done our best to mitigate all of the concerns with those.
Storms have been hitting parts of the Space Coast, but forecasters say there's an 80% chance the weather will be perfect for a Monday morning launch. The 322-foot rocket is the most powerful NASA ever built. On this trip, it will power a crew capsule with 3 test mannequins into a distant lunar orbit, reaching 40,000 miles beyond the moon. 42 days later, it'll splash down in the Pacific. It comes half a century after NASA's Apollo program landed 12 astronauts on the moon. On CBS Face the Nation, astronaut Kate Rubin says this moon mission is very different.
The first part of this program is really to establish a sustainable lunar presence on the lunar surface and then both in orbit around the moon. This is helping us get ready for Mars.
If the test flight goes well, astronauts could return to lunar orbit as early as 2024, and a moon landing could follow. Skyler Henry, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
Now, for local perspective on this story, we are joined now from the National Weather Service over in Tidzin, where my broadcast colleague Nick Delgado is standing by. Nick, what can you tell us about this historic event?
The Jace, well, excitement literally in the air with this anticipated launch happening, a historic one happening here tonight, and the excitement we're hearing coming from local meteorologists here at the Guam National Weather Service, Mike Ziobro, who shared and recalled the story from the initial Apollo launch and the moon landing that happened back in 1969. Then he was only a 10-year-old boy living in Massachusetts, sitting in his family room of his home and recalling what that moment was like for him as a child and just being fascinated and in amazement of that situation happening there. Now he's here in charge of watching our skies and what happens with the weather here. So you can only imagine just how much more of excitement he had to share with us with the anticipated launch happening here later tonight. Now, he tells us that we're expecting some rain and some heavy clouds rolling in around the time that this launch is expected to happen. The Artemis is expected to go off from the Kennedy Space Center. So about 10:30 local time, but with that rain and with the heavy clouds, we may not be able to see anything at all from our vantage point, but he is hopeful that we're able to see at least some sign of the launch. Of course, you can see many of what's happening, the situation unfolding on all the streaming platforms, and online. We'll, of course, bring you that update as well on our social media platforms. But interesting to note, Jace, is that when the initial launch happened back in 1969, Guam, of course, was only celebrating its 24 years, only a quarter of a century of being liberated from Japanese occupation, and that was around that was during the initial launch, again, back in 1969. As for the name Artemis that you saw from our CBS affiliates there, that is a gender-neutral name of Greek origin that means twin of Apollo. So you could see the connection there from the initial launch and how this came to fruition. But again, 10:30 tonight is the expected local time of when the launches are going to go down. If all goes well, then we could see things as expected moving forward. All you have to do is look up. Jace, back to you.
All right, Nick, great job on that report, bringing you some science and some mythology too. All right, very, very good. All right, moving on in our rundown, ineffective leadership and lack of communication are some of the concerns revealed in the results for the 2021 GMH survey. Daniel Perez has the details and speaks with hospital officials to find out what is being done to correct those concerns.
It's an annual survey the Guam Memorial Hospital does to seek feedback from their employees and staff on how to better improve. The 2021 GMHA employee survey results have finally been released, and these are some of the responses. It shows that GMHA managers and leaders need more training to more effectively lead their teams. Equal Employment Officer Theo Pangilinan gave his 2 cents on this survey response.
I think we could all benefit from training and education, and so here at GMH, what we did actually back in April 2021 is we conducted a training needs assessment, a survey of the hospital to find out what our employees at all levels, what trainings they thought they could benefit from. We also developed a task force which is actively exploring a learning management system which we will use to manage education and training content hospital-wide for all of our employees.
Another improvement GMH staff said that could be improved is just culture and how to properly set goals and lead employees that want to grow.
This is just the concept and philosophy that rather than resorting to automatic punishment when we make mistakes or errors, that we take a deeper dive and look for the source of the mistake or the error, and then we develop action plans to fix those.
Perhaps one of the main improvements GMHA employees wish to see is support of communication efforts by managers and unit leaders. GMHA spokesperson Cindy Hansen.
I wouldn't say there's a gap with face-to-face interaction with supervisors and employees. At least not like on the medical side. Those teams are pretty tight. I can't speak to non-clinical, but we did identify several areas where we can expand our communication. We are currently promoting the use of, we have a hospital-wide email list that goes to every single employee. We want them to be updated with what's happening here at GMH and make them know, well, let them know they are a huge part of this family and that we value them and want them updated and involved in what's happening.
Pangilinan added that GMHA staff can look forward to future town hall meetings to discuss issues that were brought up in the survey. Daniel Perez reporting for KOAM News.
All right, thanks so much, Daniel. Well, it's now the time of the show where we take a look at the latest recognitions, promotion, and events happening. It is time for News Bites, and here we go. And right off the top, fantastic news is Megan Gimmon, a former Gov Guam Merit Scholar and valedictorian both of Ukadu High and UOG. She graduated in 2016 and 2020, respectively. She's beginning medical school this month at Harvard on a full ride scholarship. Rah, rah, Crimson! And go, Megan. Congratulations to you and your family, and make us proud. Have a great time in med school at Harvard. Speaking of medical news, GRMC presented a resolution on behalf of the legislature recognizing Guam's only private hospital on the celebration of their 7th year anniversary, and we do appreciate the service that they provide for us over there in Dededo. GCC held a groundbreaking ceremony at the Student Center's concrete canopy at the Student Square recently, and congratulations to the Bank of Guam Strikers Football Club for winning the Bud Light Women's Soccer League Premier Division. Really, really cool stuff. All right, because it is Monday, it's time for your weekly question so that you may join the conversation. Make sure to jump in and let us know what you think about this topic. This week, we are asking what are the most pressing needs for expectant mothers that lawmakers and healthcare officials should address on Guam. We want to know what you think, so please join in that conversation. All right, before we head into the break now, you may recall last week I noted somewhat jokingly, I kind of said tongue-in-cheek or neck, that how our Nick Delgado, who you just heard from, was out in the field sporting a turtleneck, and a poll was conducted on our KUM News Instagram because, you know, we've got nothing better to do. Now, here are the results. I was asking who wore the turtleneck better. Was it me with the chocolate-colored turtleneck and the glasses going full-on nerd, or was it Nick Delgado? I got to say, personally, I voted for Nick. That is really, really snappy, but 66% of you voted for the old guy. So thank you very much for your endorsement. By the way, there is no way on God's green earth I am going head-to-head with Nick when it comes to anything fashion. I mean, that dude can dress. But we appreciate you guys jumping in our interactive exhibit. So make sure to jump on our weekly question once again. And thank you guys for appreciating turtlenecks, because, you know, if you walk out in one of those on Guam, it can get quite hot. They feel good, they look great, but anyway. So yeah, Nick is the fashion guy, Hannah's the fashion girl, and everything like that. I just work here. All right, enough about that. What you need to know about National Preparedness Month is coming up next. I speak to my good friend Jenna Blas about September being National Preparedness Month. Stay tuned.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
Off today, I'm Kelina from Doc's Kitty College.
And I'm Kristen from Doc's Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The Governor's Child Care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the Governor's Child Care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS.
As the Decision 2022 race shapes up, keep it with KUAM News for all the news you need to know as you head to the polls. From weekly candidate profile analysis on the Hub on KUAM News HotSpot to our online candidate directory on KUAM.com, special features on KUAM Digital and KUAM News Primetime, plus live coverage of forums and debates. We're your one-stop source on every platform. Stay informed with KUAM News, your news leader, the voice of the Marianas.
With Pacific Points, your everyday expenses could be helping you save. Earn points at Shell, Foodies Guam, and IT&E. Then redeem for awesome rewards. Want free fuel from Shell or snacks from Foodies Guam? What about discounts on your IT&E bill, free IT&E prepaid cards, or United Mileage Plus miles? Sign up for free today. Visit PacificPoints.com or download the app. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Subscribe to our KUAM News Digest, our weekly email newsletter with all kinds of information straight to your inbox. Just subscribe and we'll make sure to keep you informed and entertained with news from the KUAM News team, what to watch on NBC and CBS, and the latest promotions from KUAM Communications. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab at the top of the homepage, register, and you're all set. Brought to you by Uno Go, Guam on Demand.
The hotspot continues here, everybody, on a Monday after the election. And you know what? September is literally right around the corner. We got about maybe 48 hours and change until then. In September, if you didn't know, is National Preparedness Month. So who better to talk about what this means for our island community and the opportunities that lie within than my dear friend Jenna Bloss over at the Office of Civil Defense and Homeland Security. Good morning, Miss Jenna. How are you?
Good morning. Hafa Jason. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and you know, I know you're always gearing up. This National Preparedness Month means so much on a national scale, clearly by definition, but it has a lot of local applications which span generations. I mean, you know, it's not just, okay, preparedness is only for people that work at certain companies, or it's, you know, it's only for youngsters, or it's only for, you know, old folks and everything. It's an obligation for each one of us Guamanians to really take this seriously.
Absolutely. We all have a responsibility. And I do want to thank you so much for having me. We are promoting, our office is promoting National Preparedness Month. This is a nationwide initiative. It's actually led by the Department of Homeland Security and our FEMA partners through their Ready.gov campaign. It's held each September, and it began as the tragedies of 9/11 in 2001 heightened the importance of the nation to be more prepared. So we're following a nationwide initiative to observe each September to raise awareness about the importance of preparing for disasters and emergencies that could happen at any time. It's a month-long initiative, so we're really highlighting that we can use preparedness year-round, but you can use the month of September to prepare for all types of hazards.
Mm-hmm. And now I know when I was young, because I went to public school, right? So it was always, okay, we have to know what to do in the event of a typhoon. There is the possibility of earthquakes, possible tsunamis and everything. But the scale and scope, as we've learned in the past 3 years, you know, there are viruses that could spring up out of nowhere and, you know, like affect basically the entire world. There are geopolitical threats that affect our national security and everything. So can you maybe, as simply as you can, kind of like break down exactly how wide that spectrum is of things that we should be concerned about?
Absolutely. You know, Guam is susceptible to so many different types of natural hazards, but we're also concerned with man-made threats, cyber attacks, foreign nation state threats, all different types, especially where we're located in the Pacific region. We are located in what's called Typhoon Alley. We work very closely with our partners with National Weather Service, and the amount of information that we receive from them that lets us know what types of natural hazards can impact us and that have happened to us in the past. It just goes to show the importance of being prepared for all different types. There are steps that we can take to prepare for all types of hazards and kind of plug and play different types of preparedness activities that can help you through different types of hazards. We're promoting different ways that we can build your emergency preparedness kit, different ways that you can promote creating your family emergency plan, creating an evacuation plan, all different types of planning activities that you can do throughout the month of September. That way, if an actual natural hazard does happen, you're able to be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, on Guam, you know, like, and Jenna, I know like how much being a Guamanian means to you, and you know, you're an island girl through and through. So the concept of inafamalik, right? We talk about it all the time on this show, is taking care of our neighbors and, you know, and being good. It's not just about, you know, having the knowledge of oneself to say, okay, I know there are threats out there or things could happen, but it's also having a network of resources and knowing who to go to if something is weird, goes sideways and everything like that. So what are the resources that, that I could tap if I think something strange is up?
Yeah, so preparedness, you're absolutely right. Preparedness is a whole community approach. It really takes every individual as part of our community in order to create a more resilient community as a whole. The theme for this year's National Preparedness Month is a lasting legacy. It's really about teaching that the life you've built is worth protecting.
That's
and preparing for
disasters.
So FEMA, they
Nice.
create these, they create these different themes each year. And this one's really about preparing for disasters to create a lasting legacy for you and your family.
Because I was going to say that sounded like a Jenna Blast theme. That's something. That,
No. We can't take credit for that.
Because it's so brilliant. It could come from your mind.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's really about teaching those, the youth of our community about different ways that we can prepare. A lot of the youth of our community haven't been through a devastating or catastrophic event, thankfully so. The most recent devastating typhoon that impacted us was back in 2002 with Super Typhoon Pongsonghua. So if they have not seen a devastating typhoon before, we've had typhoons leading up to now, but if they have not seen a devastating typhoon before, the impact of that is not something that you can imagine. So it's about talking to the youth of our community, explaining that these types of events, even large earthquakes, these type of events do happen here on Guam. Now is the time to prepare for them. We don't want to be surprised when it does happen. We want to be more prepared, talk to the children in our family, in our households, and let them know your experience. You can share where you were and what age you were and what you went through when you've been through these devastating events, because we've seen them. We've seen them in the past. I was around for a few of them, and if you've never seen it before or no one's ever talked to you about it, it's really, really surprising. And to prepare someone for that, it takes a lot of discussion and a lot of planning beforehand.
There is that cliche when they say, like, if you've ever witnessed the awesome power of Mother Nature, youngsters really need to have like respect for exactly what that means. And for those of us that are old enough to have actually been through some big typhoons or the big 8.1 earthquake of 1993 and everything like that, it'll really give you different perspective on life and of how things are out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that these events do happen and they will happen again. So again, we're just really using the whole month of September to talk to our families about preparedness, figure out different ways that you can prepare your family, your unit. And there are different ways that you can do that. You can take the whole month of September to build your emergency kit. Just by adding one item a day. So then you'll have 30 items at the end of the month of September in your emergency kit with non-perishable food items, things that are important to your family. Maybe the children need coloring books or a special blanket or medication for those that need it, planning for your pets. All of those take advanced planning purposes. So it's important to start now before a disaster does happen.
And you can make that a fun family activity. As you've
absolutely.
many times over the years, this doesn't have to be just, okay, get a bunch of batteries and throw them in, like a resealable bag and, get some flashlights and, get the kind of food that, you only eat during, typhoons and everything. You can actually have like perishable, granola bars and stuff that you like to eat. But, if you have to live in those conditions, knock on wood, for, an extended period of time, your family is ready. So for the youngsters, it keeps them busy. It keeps them, focused. And for mom and dad, it gives them peace of mind.
Yeah, and it gives them some type of ownership. If you let them put in their favorite item, their favorite food, it connects them with that preparedness kit, and it lets them see, okay, this is important for our family, including me. They can put in items that are important to them. So yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely.
Okay, so Jenna, can I talk about one thing for a sec? Because in addition to, maybe giving the youngsters some retrospective view of what we've gone through as a community here on the island, one thing that, spans generations now is the internet. And you talked about cyber threats initially. So everybody's familiar with what it means to be online, and everybody's connected to 10 million social networks these days. What should people know about what threats exist and are floating around in the ether every single day, just by carrying around your phone, what they should be aware of?
Yeah, so our office has pushed out some information about being able to identify spam or being able to identify phishing attempts or those that are trying to get personal identification information from you, and ways that you can prevent that. talking to your family members about not sharing their personal information online, and even the elderly as part of our community that are, if they're receiving messages asking for personal identification information, it's important to not share that information online. One of the oldest themes that we promote is think before you connect. So sometimes people will send us a link that we can't verify. It comes from a source that we don't know. So it's important to think before you actually click on that link, because that can lead to being, receiving a virus through your phone or through your computer. There are so many different ways. We do have on our website on ghs.guam.gov, which is a completely safe website. You're able to visit that with your
that one's
your
legit.
children.
Trust me, I've been there. Yeah. I've been there 1,000 times.
Yeah, so you can visit ghs.guam.gov. We do have some cyber tips on there as well. We share a lot of our information that we receive from U.S. Department of Homeland Security. A lot of great details on there and how you can stay safe online.
And I know one thing, again, talking about the network of resources that you guys have been able to assemble and manage over the years, is that, the Marianas Fusion Center stands ready, and you've got trained professionals who are really, really good at this kind of stuff, that if you see some kind of weird message and you're just not sure, send him a screenshot, kick it over to him and everything like that. The best thing that you can do is actually just report it. Best case, it winds up being nothing. Worst case, you just identified a new possible threat that could harm you or your family on Guam. And so you've done your part. And I guess that's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that mention of our Mariana Regional Fusion Center. They do on our website as well. You can also find information for how to connect with them. If you see anything suspicious, you're able to report that to the proper authorities. From the Mariana Regional Fusion Center, they can share that information with local law enforcement, federal if it needs to be. That way they can tie in all of the different details that they receive and see if there's any connection between the different reports. So it's really important. If you see something, say something. Absolutely.
Exactly. The worst thing to do is not to do anything at all. I mean, just speak up. No harm in asking the question and everything. Again, that's enough Malik right there. You're just saying hey, this may look a little sketch. I'm just going to try and report it. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, Jenna, wrapping up, anything else that people should know or what they can expect starting September 1st?
Yeah, sure. So throughout the month of September, our office is hosting a lot of different events. Coming up first is Friday, September 2nd. Governor Lulian Guerrero will sign the National Preparedness Month Proclamation. That's Friday at 11:30 a.m. We're actually going to be doing it in person at the Adelup Large Conference Room. We're really excited to welcome our partners there to help us celebrate the NPM Proclamation signing. We do have some contests that we're hosting for all schools, elementary, middle school, and high school. The complete list of details can be found on our website again. We did send information to all of the different schools. We're looking for participation in this art contest that we're hosting. It's tied to the theme of National Preparedness Month. And it's really about showing your creativity to see different ways that you're able to showcase your preparedness. So we're looking forward to seeing those. We've received so many different submissions in previous years. So we're looking forward to see the talent that comes out of that. And there's also opportunity to receive prizes at the end of the month. We're also going to be hosting social media contests. So stay tuned to our Facebook and Instagram. Nice. You can find us on Guam Homeland Security or type in GHS OCD. From there, you'll be able to participate in some of the contests that we have online.
Follow them on social media, you guys. It's not a bunch of stuffy content that's irrelevant that you're just going to get bored with. They produce a lot of really, really good stuff. And Jenna, I just want to say, as a social media nerd, you guys are doing a fantastic job out there. Your social media channels are really top notch and very, very good.
Oh, we appreciate that. We have a really good team here. And also we're hosting a lot of different trainings for our partner agencies. We do have a what's called Typhoon Poksu tabletop exercise that's coming up. We do this every year. We participate with our partner agencies to discuss response efforts to a catastrophic typhoon scenario. We're hosting trainings for different schools. We do have outreach initiatives that we're doing at some elementary schools. We do have a jam-packed month of September. One thing that we're doing this year that we've never done before is we're hosting a FEMA distribution center warehouse tour for our partner agencies at the end of the month. All of those different organizations that play a role in our emergency operations center, they'll be able to see firsthand the resource request process from our federal partners through Guam Homeland Security Civil Defense.
I was going to say, If you guys could only see Jenna Blas's like Google Calendar, not one day in September is not marked off with like awesome activity. Well, first of all, if you can see Jenna Blas's Google Calendar, you got to report that to Mariana's Fusion Center because somebody's leaked it out, and that's not cool. But you know, no worries about there. I know you guys have security like locked down, but yeah, you guys are doing so much for our community, Jenna, and September is going to be fantastic. Let's get to work.
Thank you so much, Jason. We appreciate your support and helping to get the message out. And we look forward to seeing how everyone is participating in their National Preparedness Month.
All right. That's Jenna Blas, everybody. Very, very concerned about the well-being of Guam and very concerned about getting the word out to you. Also, very concerned about being a soccer star, which she is, and I'm very proud to know Jenna's athletic dominance. So, Jenna, always good to catch up with you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate it.
Okay, and I'm probably going to get it, so... She's going to get mad at me afterwards, but it's cool.
Not even. Thanks a lot.
All right, Jenna, thanks so much.
Bye.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
There's epic, then there's ultra epic. Capture life in vivid resolution with Galaxy's most advanced camera system and the built-in S Pen that puts you in control. Every moment, every angle, from sunrise to sundown and beyond. More striking, more stunning than ever. Find the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra at your nearest iTunes store or online at ite.net and change the way you work and play.
Half a day, I'm Kelina from Doc's Kitty College.
And I'm Kristen from Doc's Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The governor's child care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the governor's child care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS.
Say hello to the first Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Want a better look at your spending? With Money Map, you can automatically create budgets and manage where your money is going. Know when you have a green light, or when it's time to slow down. Maybe cook more meals at home this week. Set your goals, track your progress, and find your way to exactly where you want to be. With Money Map from the first Hawaiian Bank mobile app. It all starts with yes.
The KUAM Care Force, along with partners Guam Animals in Need and the Boonifly Project, are asking you to join NBC Universal in their nationwide effort to clear the shelters this August. We're encouraging our community to get involved, donate to these organizations, and adopt and foster pets to help our growing stray animal population on Guam. For the 8th consecutive year, NBC is raising awareness and funds in their local communities to support animal welfare. Since its inception in 2015, Clear the Shelters has helped more than 700,000 pets find new homes. Join us all August long for live reports on KUAM News HotSpot and Primetime, special news series, My Pet's Story, a weekly series on KUAM Digital showcasing heartwarming stories of pets who found loving homes, weekly posts on KUAM social media platforms featuring pets in need of homes. Let's do our part to clear the shelters and support animals in need.
Pacific Points is more rewarding with friends. Refer as many friends as you want. There's no limit. Referring friends is fast and easy. Simply log into your account on the app or website, then tap or click on Refer a Friend. Earn bonus points when they sign up and make a transaction. Earn 100 bonus points for every friend you refer. Pacific Points. Refer friends, get rewarded.
Work week weather forecast is upon us, and it's that time of the show right here on the Hotspot where we bring in my buddy Landon Aidlet from the National Weather Service. He is the lead forecaster, and he is the man with the plan when he's breaking down, not only showing us what Mother Nature has in store for us, but also what it means and what we can expect. And we are very much in his debt for doing that. So Landon, good morning and good to see you.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning, Guam. How is everybody doing after the long weekend?
It was one really long night, but you know, it's a fantastic experience. I'm glad it only happens like every 2 years, but I mean, it was a lot of fun over here.
Oh, that's good, and it looked like the weather cooperated for the most part over the weekend, so that was good news indeed, especially after the showers and thunderstorms that we had rumbling through the area on Friday and much of last week. So that was definitely good news for folks out and voting.
Absolutely. Good weather to go out. And, I mean, it's not just, running into a polling station and casting your ballot here on Guam. I mean, there are the barbecues, there's the music, there's the social atmospheres. And I mean, it's a one big party because so many people out here, they just love the voting experience like so much. And the weather certainly played in our favor for that. So we appreciate you giving us a heads up for that. I had my umbrella with me as per your advice.
Yes, always keep it handy. And I will say, when it comes to voting on Guam, it's very much like a family environment. It's a fiesta atmosphere. All the tents and canopies set up, and people are just overall having a good time. And that's one thing that I really like about voting and elections on Guam. There's a lot of conflict and sometimes hard feelings, but it's keep it light, keep it fun, keep it family oriented, and let's have a blast and do our best to make Guam the best it can be.
Sure. And now, Landon, I know I was telling you during the break that we actually had Nick Delgado was actually out in your neck of the woods. He was probably 50 feet away from where your office is, talking about the whole Artemis launch. And he was talking with one of your colleagues, Mike Ziobro, who I've not interviewed in some time, but Mike's a fantastic interview. I'm not a space guy, to be completely honest with you. Like between the Artemis rocket launching and Game of Thrones, I'm definitely like in the latter crowd and everything, so I'm not going to see it. But what I am interested in is there is something that you guys send. I mean, those balloons that you guys do. Is it only during times of like post storm that you guys actually launch that? And is that necessarily going into space? How high up do you guys actually send those?
Yeah, it gets right up to the top of the troposphere. So right about the tropopause, that's where the balloon expands enough that it eventually disintegrates, and then it comes crashing back down to Earth. Of course, with a parachute. So the little box of weather data, that's all coming down with a parachute back to the Earth. Somewhere in the ocean, sometimes it falls over land. So if you see a bright orange piece of plastic attached to a string, it's probably one of our sensors. But we launch those balloons twice a day, every day of the year, because that information that comes from the weather balloon, it's like a snapshot of what's going on in the atmosphere above the surface. So we have a lot of surface-based observations here every hour or more frequently as needed. But when it comes to the atmospheric snapshot, we only get those twice a day from the weather balloons. But we do double the amount of weather balloons if we have a tropical cyclone within 300 miles of our office, because we want more information. The more information we have, the more information goes into the numerical weather models and give us a better forecast for what's to come.
Okay, what kind of sensors are on that balloon? Because obviously, I mean, they should be able to pick up, like I guess barometric pressure and wind speed and stuff like that. But what kind of data specifically do you guys extract from that?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at the temperature, the dew point, the humidity. It's GPS tracked, so we can monitor where it's going as it goes up in elevation. So we track also the wind speed and direction. So all that information comes to the weather model. Again, basic observational information. We can track that. It also shows us where the wind shear is. And basically wind shear is a difference with wind speed and direction with height. And so we want to know that, especially with the airport, which is right behind outside my window. We want to know what are the winds doing as you go up in altitude, because the aircraft want to know that when they're coming in and taking off. So if there's a major change in wind speed and direction with very little height, the pilots want to know that.
Oh, very cool. Lennon, there's something I wanted to talk with you and your brother about last week, but unfortunately we ran out of time. Is Brandon back from Pittsburgh, by the way?
He is back, and he's down the hall from me right now. It's the first time we've been in the building together in almost 3 months.
Nice. And seeing as how you guys are identical twins and everything like that, I'm sure that's pretty rough, because I mean, you guys have spent your entire lives together.
Yeah, we've been together since before birth, so
that kind of science isn't something I'm into, but I know there's something about the zygote separating and everything like that. Like, men smarter than me figured that out.
Yeah, it is good to have him back in the office. So again, we greeted each other. He came by, I was like, "What's up?" And so it's nice to have my science officer back in the building, and
exactly.
We can divide and conquer.
Well, there is one thing I wanted to ask you, and I appreciate the fact that you brought up how he is the science officer, right? Because both of you take a very, scientific, you've got to have that side to do what you do, right? But you're also very analytical, right? How far do you think we are from having tools like Google Earth, right? And you get these amazing satellite pictures of the Earth that Google goes around and, they send, teams of thousands of people that dispatch like on foot to update that imagery. And I think the imagery at its best is maybe about 2 months current from what we're actually seeing now. How far are we actually from your tools, maybe providing like actual real-time video feeds of what we're seeing on Earth? Because I know you show us like a lot of these really cool charts, but basically they're satellite loops. How far are you from actually getting a live camera shot?
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even be able to venture an answer, but it's not that far away. The tools and capabilities that we've had just in my last 10 years since I came to Guam have far exceeded and advanced the science of weather forecasting significantly. Just the amount of satellite data, and I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see what we're some of the stuff that we're looking at. We used to get these satellite frames. Yeah, we used to get these satellite frames once every half hour.
That's wow, that's actually pretty fast.
The modern era. So now we get these frames every 7 to 10 minutes, and this is from the Japanese Himawari geostationary satellite. So it gives us so much information from that fixed point over the equator in orbit, and just rotates it, giving us that continuous snapshot, animated loop of what's out there. And so you can actually see, it looks like the clouds are bubbling, and I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead of myself here and talk to this tropical storm. But you notice, you can see the dynamics of the clouds. See, it looks like boiling water. We didn't see that just 10 years ago because the frames are so infrequent, and so it was a lot more pixelated and it jumped a lot more. But here we have so much more of a fluid animated loop of what's out there. And so just satellite technology alone has significantly improved decade by decade. And you think back to Chip Guard's days, he was using chalkboards, and I don't know what they used back, abacus, is that what they used to count? Chip was really old, so.
Well, yeah, well, like one of our coworkers here, like Mike, he still does math with the abacus, and so that's what he does. No, okay. Now, joking aside, though, you were talking about the fact that these satellites that you're getting the data from, those are geostationary, right? I believe those are 13 miles up. I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
They are way up. I think it's like 23,000. Something way up there.
Okay. Now, again, getting back to the weather balloons, though, when you said it's at the edge of the troposphere, how high from Earth is that?
Yeah, roughly about 100,000 feet. So it's about as far as from WFO Guam here in Central Guam all the way up to Anderson Air Force Base, if it's standing up vertically.
Oh, so that's maybe, let's just round it off and say maybe about 10 miles?
Yeah, right about. So it's really not that far up, but it gives us a good shot of what's going on in the troposphere, or the tropopause.
Wow.
And that's where most of our weather takes place.
What is going on in the troposphere? What can you tell us about what we're looking at this week?
Well, definitely, it's a mixed bag of seasonably moist weather ahead of us this week. So we have this disturbance that's approaching us from the east. All of these showers and thunderstorms are coming in from the east, but like most bad relationships, it's starting to break up. So you've noticed there's a lot of dissipation right here. And it's falling apart. So we're getting we're getting a lot of clouds. If you look outside, you get a lot of mid and upper level what we call debris cloud. And this is just from the decaying convection as it's on approach. We got a little bit of an outflow, that little leading line right there. So that could probably be accompanied with a light wind gust, but nothing to write home about. But farther out, we have more showers and thunderstorms to the east. But again, they're starting to dissipate. They're weakening on approach, but then farther out, we do have more weather. And I'm going to open up our wider view with the visible satellite imagery. We have this one little disturbance pushing through here. We have another disturbance here and a larger one up here. This is part of the south side of upper level low. That's going to keep to our north as it tracks westward, but we could see showers and thunderstorms as this disturbed weather at the surface does approach us late Tuesday into Wednesday. That looks like our wettest chance of showers is this upper low tracks that way. This is our tropical storm up here to the north. That's tropical storm Hinamnor, and that's a name originating from Lao PDR with the Typhoon Committee. So Hinamnor, that is no threat to us, tropical storm, and that is tracking westward, but we are watching that. I'm going to go over to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. We are not issuing formal bulletins and information from the National Weather Service as it remains just outside of our air responsibility, which stops at 25 degrees north latitude. This is right about 27 degrees north latitude, so just out of range for WFO Guam, which is fine with us. But this is the current track right there. This is a tropical storm Hinamnor's track, going to be going toward the vicinity of Okinawa, which is right over here, possibly as a Category 3 typhoon. So we are watching that, especially if you have military interest in Okinawa. They will be watching this closely, especially with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, as this thing slowly tracks westward. We could see a drop in forward motion, which would not be good news for Okinawa if it's lingering in their area for a couple of days. There is another disturbance, of course, no threat to Guam, but another disturbance to its southwest could interact with its track, which would indicate that slower motion right about here as it goes toward Okinawa. So we are watching that. For now, the tropical weather activity is well to our north, and we have no suspect areas for development of tropical weather for Guam, the CNMI, or any of Micronesia at the time. So that is definitely good
Thank you,
news for us.
Santa Maria and Camelin.
Yes, out in the waters, you notice the winds are pretty light out there. We're not going to see much change over the next couple of days. This is the EPAN buoy showing the wave forecast in the coming days. We see that jump right there. That's about a half foot, so don't be alarmed by that. But we're going to see combined seas of 2 to 3 feet, building by about a foot by the weekends. But a low risk of rip currents out there on the waters. But be careful, keep an eye to the sky, because there is a slight risk of lightning all the way throughout the week with periods of scattered showers, a little mix of clouds, sun, and off and on showers, as is typical with this time of the year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, real quick question for you, Landon, because, and I like how you ended like with that lightning thing, because I've been dying to, bad choice of words, but I really wanted to ask you about lightning, right? And I remember when I was a kid, when lightning rods like were introduced, I mean, this was a huge, very, very low tech, and at the same time, very, very high effectiveness, right? Do tall buildings, and like out here, I think our tallest building on Guam is the Westin, if I'm not mistaken, it's 31 stories. But
yeah,
can you still actually
one of the
mount
tallest.
lightning? Huh?
Yeah, it's one of the tallest, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Is it still advisable to actually mount lightning rods on tall buildings, or even like normal structures like here at the KUM studios? You've been in here, like we're a 1-story building, but do companies still do that?
Yeah, many companies still do that, and I'm not too keen on the science of lightning rods, but I see a lot of buildings still with lightning rods attached to the structures, especially parking garages, new parking garages. They want to attract that lightning strike and then direct that energy to the ground for grounding. And that's
exactly. Yeah,
just
I
a
always
rule of thumb.
Then rather than play with like the very random nature of lightning, where it could strike anywhere, right? Say, why don't we draw it to a place that we can control, and then, like you said, direct that energy into the ground where it's safer.
Yeah, and I will say I was in my parents' condo tower in Daytona Beach. I think it was August 2021 when I was last visiting home, and they had a severe thunderstorm and a lot of lightning. Florida is the lightning capital of the world. Lightning struck their condo tower, which is about 20-some stories tall. They were on the 6th or 7th floor, and it shook the whole building apparently. But that lightning bolt fried the electronics and systems down on the ground floor, and took chunks of concrete out of the rooftop. So watch out. Lightning can be hazardous, especially even if you're inside. So that people say, don't be talking on a landline telephone. Don't be taking a shower at the time, because it can sometimes travel through water pipes. And again, don't be outside.
The thing about the shower. I've heard the thing about the phone, but I had no idea about the shower thing.
Yeah, it can travel through the water pipes, landlines. So watch out. Just stay away from windows. When you hear thunder, that's your sign. When thunder roars, get indoors.
Absolutely. That is a little limerick that we here at KUM, we really take to heart, and because of you and your brother, and you guys have really ingrained that into us, and we appreciate it. Yeah, no, I remember, I think in the mid and late 80s, the whole concept of a lightning rod was like this huge, maybe it was just clever marketing, but everybody talked about that, and everybody was like, okay, we have to put this on because it's going to keep us safer. Apparently those days are over.
It still helps. We still have them on buildings all around today. So keep that in mind. If you need a lightning rod, just talk to the experts. I am not a lightning rod expert, so don't talk to me about it.
And I guess because, we live in a different time now. People put, they have cable satellites on top of their houses. You've got all sorts of, you've got telecom repeaters, or, internet signal boosters and things like that. So, yeah, like you said, you've got a lot of electronics in places. So maybe that kind of thing just isn't that popular anymore. But I remember when that was a big deal.
Yeah, and also another thing to mention, we're talking about planning and looking ahead. September is National Preparedness Month. And so I know you mentioned, you talked to Jenna earlier today. I don't know if this was about September plans, but let me turn my camera around again to the webpage. This is the ready.gov/September. So all about National Preparedness Month. Go out there again, ready.gov/September. And it's all about preparedness. Make a plan, disasters and emergencies, get involved. how to volunteer, and other resources for protecting yourself, your family, and your business for all sorts of hazards. And so that's going to be coming up in September. Guam Homeland Security, the National Weather Service, we are all participating in a lot of events, including the governor's proclamation signing this Friday for National Preparedness Month. So check out the Guam Homeland Security Facebook page, their webpage, for more information on overall tips and preparedness for all sorts of hazards, including typhoons. And again, we get more hazards than just typhoons, so you need to always be prepared.
Yep, and Jen and I were talking about that. There's cybersecurity, there's earthquakes, there's tsunamis, and all sorts of stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it can make you like a little bit nervous, especially the more you get into it. But the peace of mind that you'll actually be able to extract from that is off the charts. I mean, if you do a little bit of data gathering, a little bit of preparation, and like a lifetime of confidence in yourself.
That's exactly it. You can never be too ready.
Okay, so real quick before I let you go, can you give us like Landon's pro tip? And you talk about this all the time, but when you have a home disaster kit, right? When the weather is expected to get really, really unfavorable, I mean, we may be looking at not just the day of an actual storm, but days and days of prolonged high winds, high surf, really, really wet conditions and everything like that. What do you have in your own home disaster kit so that we might be able to copy what the pros do?
Okay, first off, if you use any medications regularly, get a lot of those, stock up on those, like allergy, headache medications, cold and flu, especially in the time of COVID. But also have a tank of gas, or maybe a couple tanks of gas, because if something happens to our gas and fuel supply on the island, or the gas pumps are registered useless, or you don't have power, you can have gas on standby to get your car to and from places. Also cash, always have cash available, because the credit cards may not be able to swipe, and the ATMs may not work as well. So cash, keep it handy, always keep it, where we have earthquakes in the area. You can't forecast or foresee earthquakes happening. So always keep a couple $100s of cash on standby at any given time in case something happens in a day that you're not expecting it. But toilet paper, think back to back in 2020 when COVID was spinning up and people were running out of toilet paper, diapers, baby formula. I think the last 2 years will give you a great prelude of future disasters to come, what to prepare with and how to prepare for it. So think about those things: cash, gas, toilet paper, paper towels, sanitation type materials, but also non-perishable foods, canned foods, a can opener, one of the twist ones, not an electric one. And then also, if you're like in snorkeling, a slingshot spear, because sometimes if it's a long, prolonged disaster, what's your food source? Also,
you're going primal back there. I guess
I'm going primitive.
Things get bad, and we have to revert to our very primal prehistoric nature.
Yeah, a gas-powered grill, charcoal grill. This is stuff that my brother and I stocked up on when we first came to Guam. We're on a small island in the middle of the Pacific. Oh my gosh, something's going to happen. So we had all kinds of stuff prepped in our house with propane tanks and all kinds of good stuff.
Yep, smart man. I should say smart men, and none of us have ever had that in dispute. So, Landon, man, thank you again for another fantastic appearance. We are forever in your debt for how much smarter and how much wiser you have made us on the show.
We're trying. It's all about safety and preparedness.
And one of these days, you and I are going to collab. You, me, and your brother. We're going to build one of those like geostationary satellites, and we're going to have like a live video feed of what the weather is in real time. I'll write the code for you. We'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll do it with Lincoln Logs.
And I was gonna say you guys were as high as the Gannett Shopping Center. Next time we'll hit the toposphere. How about that?
Hey, we might have a project in the works. More on that to come soon.
Okay. Preview of coming attraction. So I like that. I mean,
possibly, yes.
Have a great time. And we'll talk to you definitely when National Preparedness Month starts.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jason.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it, man. And from the National Weather Service, we will be back with more fun on the show right now.
Half a day. I'm Kelina from Doc's Kitty College.
And I'm Kristen from Doc's Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The governor's child care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the governor's child care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS. The KUAM Care Force, along with partners Guam Animals in Need and the Booneyfly Project, are asking you to join NBC Universal in their nationwide effort to clear the shelters this August. We're encouraging our community to get involved, donate to these organizations, and adopt and foster pets to help our growing stray animal population on Guam. For the 8th consecutive year, NBC is raising awareness and funds in their local communities to support animal welfare. Since its inception in 2015, Clear the Shelters has helped more than 700,000 pets find new homes. Join us all August long for live reports on KUAM News Hotspot and Primetime, special news series, My Pet's Story, a weekly series on KUAM Digital showcasing heartwarming stories of pets who found loving homes, weekly posts on KUAM social media platforms featuring pets in need of homes. Let's do our part to clear the shelters and support animals in need.
It's Feed Me Fridays on KUAM News Hotspot. Good eats, good company, and beyond good chow. With Team KUAM checking out Guam's most tantalizing, tempting menu items every Friday on KUAM News Hotspot or stream online. Brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Want a better look at your spending? With Money Map, you can automatically create budgets and manage where your money is going. Know when you have a green light, or when it's time to slow down, maybe cook more meals at home this week. Set your goals, track your progress, and find your way to exactly where you want to be with Money Map from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. It all starts with yes.
It's news in our native language on the KUAM News Tomorrow News Updates, streaming online on Isla Radio and on the KUAM News YouTube channel. It's part of our ongoing commitment to sustain and perpetuate our language and culture across generations. Tomorrow News Updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
What is going on from the world of entertainment? Well, Game of Thrones, obviously, duh. There's a lot more going on, so here is your update.
What does it matter what they're doing in other cars?
I want to know how scared I should be.
We're getting our first look at Noah Baumbach's highly anticipated new movie, White Noise, starring Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig. The film, based on Don DeLillo's 1985 postmodern novel, is set to open the Venice Film Festival next week and the New York Film Festival next month before being released on Netflix.
Time is the thing. Time is the essential piece of interpretation.
Cate Blanchett's latest drama, Tar, is also having its world premiere at the Venice Film Festival. The two-time Academy Award winner stars as orchestra conductor Linda Tarr. It's the first movie in 16 years for acclaimed director Todd Field, his first since Little Children in 2006. Euphoria actress Barbie Ferreira says she will not be returning to the hit HBO show for its third season. The fan favorite wrote on Instagram that after years of embodying the character of Kat, she is having to say a very teary-eyed goodbye. The announcement comes after fans noticed her character wasn't featured much in the second season. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, friends, we saved the very best for the very last because it was a very, very long night. And you know, if you follow any of us in the KUAM, follow any of us on Instagram, you might have seen, like, most of us put up this little video where we had like a celebratory chant and we said, have fun, kick butt, finish fast. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. All right, we got the first 2 because we'd like to think that we kicked butt that night and we had a lot of fun doing it. So our own social media digital producer extraordinaire, Vic Falan, you know him from the One Micronesia podcast, actually was running around behind the scenes and got a lot of footage that you don't see from your side of the camera, showing how we do our thing and all the fun that we had in putting the election coverage together. So here is Vic's BTS extravaganza.
Okay, on 3, all right? 1, 2, 3. Have fun, kick ass, finish quick!
I just got triggered there for a minute. I was like, wait, we're going to live shot with me and robbing Mitch again? It was a very, very long night, but you know what? It makes it all worth it, and that was just a snapshot, and we are truly, truly blessed here. So thank you, each and every one of you, for watching, whether you were with us the entire night when we started at 10:30 and when we finished at around 4:30 in the morning and continue to update on social media and our website, or whether you just popped in and popped out. We hope you kept you informed, and we hope we were doing our job, because that's what it's really all about, and that's why we do this, because we care about you guys and we want to make sure that you guys are in the loop. You know what? We also want to make sure that you guys are well fed and nourished, but you know what? That's not our job. So go off and have a good lunch. Let us know what you have for lunch. Send us a DM, send us pictures, whatever. I love pictures of food. Otherwise, I'm going to go get my own lunch. I think we got acai bowls coming up. So we are going to see you tonight at 6. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.